What up, YouTube? Here with a post-fight review video for Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. Now, this fight took place a few minutes ago, and I'm gonna give y'all the results to start this video. Before I go ahead and give y'all the summary and my opinions and analysis on this fight, Tyson Fury was able to score a 6th-round knockout win to retain his WBC and Ring Magazine heavyweight titles. And basically, how the fight went, it was all Tyson Fury for all 6 rounds before the knockout occurred. Uh, it wasn't like Dillian Whyte was completely out the fight, but Tyson Fury, he was landing the more cleaner punches. He was able to control the distance. He was able to maneuver around the ring fluently, and he established the jab to keep Dillian Whyte at bay. And Tyson Fury, he utilized his best weapon, that 1-2, that jab in the straight right. It was working like a charm for him in this fight, like any other Tyson Fury fight. And like I said, Dillian Whyte wasn't completely out the fight. Anytime he would get tagged with some shots, he would, try and answer back with more aggression. However, Tyson Fury, if y'all been watching Tyson Fury for some time now, he's very tactical, and he's got a brilliant ring IQ. He knows that more times he has a size advantage, definitely the height advantage, and most of the time he has a weight advantage against his opponents. And Tyson Fury, having also a reach advantage over most of his opponents, likes to keep his opponents at bay. And when they close a gap on him, he likes to put all his weight, all that 260 plus pounds of Tyson Fury, he coming down on his opponent while they're on the inside, and he'll clinch his opponent up when he's attacked. And that goes to show Tyson Fury's brilliance when it comes to his ring IQ. And it was no different versus Dillian Whyte. When Dillian Whyte would have Tyson Fury against the ropes, and it kind of looked like Dillian Whyte was successful at cutting off the ring versus Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury would stop Dillian Whyte's momentous attempt at attacking him by clinching him up, which will force a referee to call for a break while they're tied up. And Tyson Fury, man, he's a very tactical fighter, but he's one of the more technically sound guys at the division right now. The two champions are by far the more fundamentally sound guys at the heavyweight division, and they're the two champions at that weight class. So that goes to show you, being more well-rounded is better than just having sheer power, like a Anthony Joshua, who lost to the current, majority heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk, and Dillian Whyte, pardon me, Deontay Wilder, who's also a highlight reel puncher, who lost that trilogy rivalry versus Tyson Fury. And, if y'all check out my prediction video that I made leading up to this fight, I had called for a mid-round knockout for Tyson Fury, and that's exactly what happened. Tyson Fury caught him with a beautifully timed uppercut. He would have Dillian Whyte at bay, throwing the jab, and Dillian Whyte, after getting tagged with the 1-2 all night long, he's expecting a straight right, but then the uppercut from a taller Tyson Fury, which he didn't see coming after getting hit with the jab, it caught him by surprise and it dropped him. Dillian Whyte was able to get back up on his feet to answer the referee's 10 count, and this was at the end of the 6th round. However, he stumbled. He was out on his feet, and the referee that forced him to say, "Hey, that's enough." He called a stop to the bout, and I did not disagree with the referee's call at all. Once you see a fighter, regardless of the fact that he made his way back up from the canvas, he's on his feet, but he doesn't have his footing, that's, a no-go sign. Definitely don't want to put anybody in harm's way. That's why I agree with the referee's decision. If he's not able to, catch his balance, then he can't continue to fight. yeah, this wasn't like a. It was similar to how Povetkin knocked him out, but you know when Povetkin hit him in their first fight, Dillian Whyte didn't get back up on his feet to even answer the count. He did when Tyson Fury hit him with that uppercut, but you know it was uh, devastating enough to where Dillian Whyte couldn't get his footing back, even though he got back up on his feet. And post fight news, Tyson Fury, it was rumored that this would be his last fight. And he did say in the post fight interview that, he made a promise to his wife, after the third fight with Deontay Wilder that he would retire and hang the gloves up. But he felt like he needed to have one more fight in his home country in England. And if this is his last fight, like he said it is, as far as fighting professionally, in boxing, that is, because I'm gonna get to that part in a little bit. But if this was his last professional boxing fight, what a way to go out, in front of 94,000 people, setting an all-time record. In modern, I don't know. I think Julio Cesar Chavez Senior, he had like over 100,000 people in Mexico City way back in the days, like in the early '90s when he fought, in Mexico City. I think there was like over 100,000 people in attendance. But I'm talking about like right now, 94,000 people. I think Canelo broke, the AT&T Stadium record when he fought Billy Joe Saunders. But, to have 94,000 people at the Wembley Stadium in London, England for his big comeback fight in his home country, it is no bigger way to go out than in front of, your hometown peoples where there's almost 100,000 people. Yeah, but, as a fan of the sport of boxing, I don't think this is the perfect, the dream last fight that we all want to see Tyson Fury go out on. We definitely want to see him, try and become undefeated heavyweight champion. And then if he's successful at becoming that, then he retires. Then he would really, without a question, go out on top. And without a doubt in my mind, if he accomplishes that, he would be by far the greatest British boxer of all time. No debate about it. And, that's if, he decides to come out of retirement and decides to go on and fight the winner of the rematch between Usyk and Joshua. That's, rumored to be scheduled for July this year. But he did say, he's going to retire. However, he still might be active in putting on exhibition fights like you see the late, great Floyd Mayweather. He's still doing that. I think he got a fight coming up somewhere in Abu Dhabi or something like that, like in a month or two. It's like an exhibition fight, some like he did versus, what's his name, the Japanese kickboxer and Logan Paul. And I think that's the route that Tyson Fury is going to follow suit at. Doing what Floyd Mayweather's doing, and he had Francis Ngannou, the UFC heavyweight champion, come up to the ring during the post-fight interview, and they said for next year that they might put on like a hybrid MMA / boxing kind of matchup between the two heavyweight sensations. It's gonna be a big show, but they're both like the top guys in their respective sport. You get what I'm saying? Of course, Ngannou had that fight versus Cyril Gane not too long ago, and that was, he was successful at defending his heavyweight title, and he's talked about, complaints about fighters' pay with the UFC. So if he gets in there with Tyson Fury, that's, more money than, he's ever made, guaranteed. That's like a big splash that Francis Ngannou could make, similar to what Conor McGregor did getting in there with Floyd Mayweather. It would be like another one of those with him and Tyson Fury. But mind you, McGregor versus Mayweather, it was a regular boxing matchup with no MMA stipulations at all. But Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou are talking about possibly mixing things up when they get in there. Is that the fight that, all of us as sports fans want to see. You know, it would be a spectacle, but you know, it's not like it's not like Usyk versus Fury or Fury versus Joshua. That fight guarantee if they have a fight, like let's say Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Joshua is someone who beat Dillian Whyte and who is also from London, England. If they have a stadium fight over there at Wembley, Tyson Fury and Joshua, if Joshua is successful in that rematch versus Usyk, that's 100 plus thousand people guaranteed. It's going to be more successful than Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. And I think Usyk versus Tyson Fury might have more people in attendance for that fight, the undisputed heavyweight title fight, than this fight with Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. Now I don't know how serious they are. Of course, the UFC, you know, they're gonna have to get involved if Francis Ngannou's gonna do anything with Tyson Fury. Now I don't know how I said Dillian Whyte, my bad. Francis Ngannou's contract is looking with the UFC. I don't know what his promotional deal is, but if he's a UFC heavyweight champion still, that means he's still with the UFC, and if he does anything, I'm sure UFC is gonna get involved. So I don't know how that's gonna work, but Tyson Fury retires undefeated. I don't know because he did retire before, and he came back to once again dominate heavyweight boxing. Like I said, I definitely want to see him fight the winner of Usyk and Joshua to see who's going to become undisputed heavyweight champion. There's been a lot of undisputed title fights going down in the sport of boxing as of right now, and I think undisputed heavyweight crown has got to be amongst that list of all these undisputed title fights happening in the sport of boxing right now. I'd much rather that than seeing a do y'all remember when Muhammad Ali had that hybrid boxing / wrestling matchup versus what was it, Antonio Inoki? It would be something like that more than the McGregor Mayweather if Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou were to get in there on some hybrid like MMA mixed with boxing kind of matchup. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are that with this fight with Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. Tyson Fury, like I said, he put on a regular Tyson Fury performance. He looked like himself out there. I still think he could, obviously fight. And he's, definitely, I think, the favorite if he were to get in there with either Usyk or Joshua. So, it's not like, he's retiring because he feel like, he's not in fight shape, because he's still pulling out knockouts. He's still putting on Tyson Fury kind of performances, but hey, he wants to, settle down. He's made enough money. He's a superstar, and he made a promise to his wife and family that he's gonna retire and enjoy life, outside of boxing, and do what he do. I guess he's gonna, like I said, go that Floyd Mayweather route, and pull off, entertaining exhibition bouts and shit like that. But do y'all think he might come out of retirement to compete in the heavyweight division? And the heavyweight division, ever since the Klitschko era, it's had a nice mix up. Does he still want to, be in the mix up amongst the heavyweight boxing scene currently? And as far as Dillian Whyte goes, he's still one of them gatekeepers at heavyweight boxing. There's still other fighters, common opponents. Like, I think Derek Chisora is going to retire, but, guys like Joseph Parker, Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz. I don't know if Deontay Wilder is going to retire. You got Usyk, who's going to have that second fight versus Anthony Joshua sometime in July, as expected. He's still, there's Joe Joyce. There's some options out there for him to still fight and be active right now. I think he could still play that gatekeeper role if he decides to continue fighting, that is. But I think that's, the role where Dillian Whyte is perfect fit at. He's been interim heavyweight champion for the WBC organization for 5 years, and he finally at that match versus Tyson Fury that he waited 5 years for, and he fell short. But like I said, gained effort. He tried his best. He fought his fight, but Tyson Fury was, even on paper, just a better fighter. But I think Dillian Whyte is still a big draw in heavyweight boxing, and there's still room for him to do what he does. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are in the comments. Subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. Y'all stay healthy, stay safe. And that does it for this video. I'm out, y'all. Peace.